Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cowboy Spur. I'm Mir Mahfouz, an 11th grader and the co-sports editor of the Sidekick this year. For those that don't know, the Cowboy Spur is a weekly podcast that rotates topics around a set schedule. Discussions will focus on news, sports, entertainment, student life, and opinions, with the occasional offshoot episode where we'll just mess around and have some fun. Please excuse our audio quality as we are dealing with other COVID-related conditions. For this week, we will highlight the story on Cowboy Student Media. Every week, we will feature a story from Cowboy Student Media. This week, our story of the week will be KCBY live streams making Capel Sports a click away by Sapna Amin. Here are first couple lines of the story. With the subtle adjustment of a camera lens and the dedicated camera running alongside the ball, the cheer of the adoring crowd came to life on a cell phone. Thanks to the KCBY TV crew and a special projects team, Capel High School home football games and volleyball matches are being streamed live. Make sure to visit Capel Student Media to read the rest of the story. Speaking of football games, today's guest is a coach who has been working with Capel football for 13 years. Coach Poenter, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Karl Poenter. I'm the assistant head football coach and head boys track coach for Capel High School. I also coach the safeties positions.
Could you give us two interesting facts about yourself?
Two interesting facts. Let's see. I am in my 13th year coaching here at Capel High School. I teach chemistry and biology, and I've been married now for 23 years.
What would you say is your favorite aspect of coaching football?
Coaching football is something I've always loved, and I've enjoyed coaching, for the last 24 years throughout my career. But I just love the game, the competition aspect, going out and learning and growing, and just learning those life skills that you get from football, from any sport, actually.
Okay. All right, Coach. Since I've got you here already, today I wanted to try building a Capel All-Star team. We'll go through each of the positions and talk about any Capel players, no matter if they've graduated or not, that you think would make the team. The cream of the crop, as they say. Let's start with the quarterback. For me, I think Joe McBride has been a sensational athlete coming out of Capel. But for you, who is your all-star quarterback that you have seen?
Wow. Since I've been here, we've had several, going from Hayden Hawk to Joe Minden to Brady McBride. I think each one of them was all, different in their aspects. But I'd probably say Joe Minden would be my all-star.
Okay. Next position will be running back. Though I have not had enough experience, I know you have. And so who is your all-star running back?
Well, my what I've seen here, in my years coaching here, Cam McDaniel was definitely an all-star. I also know here in Capel, if you go back in history, we had Emmanuel Moody here who was a big-time one. But, wow, which one would I choose? I guess since I had him, I'd go with Cam McDaniel.
Okay. For wide receiver, I have Jonathan McGill. Who do you take?
Receiver, I think the one I would take was a great young man that could run by anybody. Cedar Hill, DeSoto would double team him. He's gone on to have a great college career, and I'd go with Josh Fink.
Okay. For tight ends, I also don't have much information on this, but you definitely do.
Oh, man, tight ends. We've had several good ones here. Probably one of the biggest ones would be Josh Self, who wound up going to the Air Force Academy. He's been probably one of our best tight ends.
And who would you take at offensive tackle on either side?
Wow, tackle. Man, we've had a bunch of good ones. I don't know which one, who exactly I take. If I think I had to take a tackle, probably Connor Williams would be my first selection.
Especially because Connor has gone on to the NFL and with the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing with the Cowboys. He had a great career at Texas. Now he's playing in the pros. He did a lot for us. He played some center, he played some tackle, played some defensive for us. So, I would put him there.
And who would you take at guard?
Guard. Ooh, that's a tough one because we've had several good ones. I'd say one of the best ones. I'd say one I'd go back would be Oni Amole. Played for us early on in our career here. Played at Iowa State. Was with I want to say he was with the Raiders for a little bit as well. So he moved to center when he got to the NFL.
And given center at the high school, who would you take at center?
Wow. We you got to have somebody that's good. Just kind of thinking through the career, the different ones we've had. One that really kind of comes to mind would probably be Leighton Light.
Okay. And so that rounds off our offensive all-star team. Let's shift over to defense now. Who would you take at defensive tackle?
D-tackle. Wow. This one's tough because I think he played a little bit of both tackle and end for us. And so, I could slot him either way. Through college, he played some tackle, and even in the pros, he's played some end and tackle. But I'd probably go Solomon Thomas.
Yeah, that was who else to go take. But my next question will be, who's your defensive end?
Ooh, so if I got Solomon at tackle, probably the next defensive end that really stood out to me that was he was a beast for us was a kid named Tanner Rice, and just a solid D end.
And then moving on, middle linebacker.
Oh, middle linebacker. Well, we've had several good ones that have come through. In the 12 years I've been here, Walker Polk was a really good one. We had Teddy Johnson was a really good middle linebacker for us as well, and I think it'll be a toss-up between one of those two.
And then your left or right outside linebacker?
Outside linebackers, I would say probably one of the best ones we've had was an amazing young man. He also played lacrosse, and that was Mullins. He was a 5 at the time. He was a 5A Defensive Player of the Year for the state of Texas, and Brandon Mullins was just a beast at outside backer.
Moving on, we have the secondary, so cornerback.
Our best corner that we've had, we've had several good ones, and I think we've had several guys that have gone back and forth in both spots, that could be in different areas. I'd say if I was going to go just a straight corner only, I'd probably go Bennett Okacha.
And then your free safety?
Free safety. I think I've had two really good ones. One was Nick Johnston when we first got here. I wound up playing at UTSA. He was a headhunting guy. And then, of course, we talk about Jonathan McGill. Jonathan's having a great career out at Stanford right now playing the nickelback. I'd probably say Jonathan. I'd give Jonathan the slight edge on that one.
And then your strong safety.
Ooh, strong safety. I think that kind of ties in, with our defense. Our strong safety is also kind of tied to our outside backers. I'd say Brandon Mullins, and then probably the next one I'd put in there would be Tanner Masters.
Okay, with that rounding out our defensive all-stars, let's move on to special teams. For kicker, I think Caden Davis deserves this spot, but who would you take?
No, we've had here at Coppell, we've been blessed having lots of great kickers, and several that have made it to the college level, but I would give the edge to Caden.
And then your punter.
Punter, for us, a lot of our kickers do a little bit of everything. Caden punted for us. He kicked off. He did all that. I would say if I had to go just a straight punter, then I'd say, I'd probably keep it with Caden. And
then your long snapper?
Long snapper. This guy, I think he's been one of the best deep snappers, long snappers we've had. He does punt. He did punt. He did a PAT field goal for us. He ran down on kickoffs, and that'd be Connor Choate.
And then lastly, your holder.
Ooh, holder. Man. Golly, I don't know who would be our best holder because throughout the years we've had so many that were quarterbacks that helped us. Best holder. That's a tough one. I don't know. I may have to pass because I don't have one for sure.
Okay. With that rounding out our offensive, defensive, and special teams all-star program for Coppell football, I would like to talk about our current roster that we have right now. Which players do we have right now that you could see that has the potential to break through into this? All-Star team?
Looking at our team right here, I think we've got some great young guys. Looking at maybe possible linemen, Alvin Abasale is really maturing into a great lineman. Jason Nagu has been a solid running back for us. He's got some stiff competition to try to really break in there, but is running hard, running well. Receiver wise, we got a couple guys that could challenge it. In KJ Liggins and Anthony Black. So we've got some skill guys out there. Defensively, we've got some good young guys. I think they're all going to have a challenge breaking through that defense. We've had some great Coppell defenses lately. And so I don't know. That's going to be a tough challenge there. We got some good young guys that might be able to fight in and break through. Zach Stricker's playing well at safety. Tim O'Hearn's playing well at inside backer. So, just trying to figure those spots out.
Okay. And with that, we have our final hypothetical roster for the Coppell All-Star football team. But going off of position itself, I want to talk about leaders. I know we've had a lot of leaders come through the program, but who would you take as your top 2 or 3 leaders to come through this program?
Wow. I would say, one of the early leaders that we had, I thought that was just a solid team leader for us, was Cam McDaniel. When we first got here, really rallied the guys and the troops and allowed us to be successful. As we go through, looking at the last couple of years, Josh Fink was a solid team leader. Right now, Zach Stricker has been a solid team leader. So I think I'd have a hard time truly picking a team leader because it varies from year to year with each team, and each leader in each team has a different set of needs.
Okay, and coming off of the history of Coppell in their players, let's move on to the trajectory of the future of Coppell. I know we have a really good young receiving core and a lot of juniors, but what do you see going forward, and what is your hope for this program and the players?
Looking at what's coming down the pike for the future, we have a really good, strong JV team. There's a really strong sophomore class with a lot of guys that are really talented. Looking at our freshman team this year, we're really excited about some of the talent that we see down there and the steps that they're making. Even looking down into our middle school, we're seeing some 8th grade groups that are looking really good. And middle school is always hard to project because you never know. Puberty and maturity really hasn't hit yet, but there's a few young men down there that we're really excited about to see what the growth is and where we're going. As a whole, as a program, we're still fighting, and we're driving and trying to deal with everything within the culture that we have, from COVID and everything else to some of the concussion concerns that you see some kids maybe not playing as much, and so and it goes through waves. We'll go through cycles where you have big groups of kids that come through and play, and then the next year you might have a smaller group and maybe not as talented, but usually there's waves that come through, and so really hoping that we'll continue to see those waves. Coppell athletes and football players have always been we pride ourselves on being smart, hardworking, physical athletes, and I think that's what we are. And we have to always do things right. We'll have some of those super studs, but we got a lot of kids that just work hard and really put themselves in the right positions to be successful.
And with that, rounding off our football segment of this episode, I would want to move on to track. And one name that comes to mind is Samir Tota, and how he ran one of the fastest times at Coppell. Who have been the all-stars for you throughout track? Track's always an interesting sport because, I kind of joke sometimes track is kind of a dying sport because no one wants to get out there and just go run. But our numbers here at Coppell have really been good. Our track numbers have increased every year, and it's exciting to see kids excited about wanting to come out and compete and run in track. Of course, Samir was awesome. He was a
a great 100-meter, 200-meter kid. Had a chance possibly to make it to the state meet if we didn't get shut down with COVID this past year, and has the opportunity to go out and run at UC Berkeley. We've had several others from distance runners in the 800. Jackson Walker has been an 800 miler that was made state a couple times. A couple years ago, we had Zach Dicken, who was a 200, 400 guy. He has the record for the 200, for the 400, and I don't know if he broke the 200 or not, because that was a fast time. But he has 2 records on our record board, and had the opportunity to run in college at Air Force Academy. So we've had several. Colin Eccles was a great field event guy, shot and disc, has had the record for discus, and I think he still has the record for shot, but is throwing up at K-State right now, and he's in his senior year and just really primed to have a good breakout year. And then on the girls' side, we had Elizabeth Kerpon, who was a 400 and a hurdler that ran at Duke for us. Of course, you can put in there Morgan Colon, Colin, and then Shelby Spur. We've had several, and looking at the future, I'm excited about what's coming up in the future. We've got a lot of good young kids that are exciting, that could be some breakouts for us.
Okay, and with that, rounding out our football and track segments of this podcast, I want to give a special thank you to Coach Poenter for joining me today. And I want to make sure that y'all either attend or live stream some of the upcoming football games, as Coppell will play intense competition going into the rest of the district schedule. Is all hosts and no guests. Hope you all have a great weekend.